Hello traders, it's Samurai Trader here. Welcome to how to day trade any market, the $1,000 a day challenge. Now for the young guns here watching this video, if $1,000 a day is not enough for you, you simply increase your position size. That is the number of contracts that you're trading. This is session 88, and what I teach in these sessions you can apply to trading futures, Forex, or stocks. The exact setups work on all markets and all time frames. Now I do need to pull up the disclaimer: there is a risk in trading. Don't trade with money that you can't afford to lose. And the great thing about trading today, virtually every trading platform allows you to trade on the simulator before you go live. So a very quick advertisement: if you haven't already downloaded my ebook for Truth About Day Trading, please click on the description link below. Even better still, become a member. That is, you can join what I'm about to show you, my coaching room and the Day Traders Fast Track program for only $197, which includes all of my indicators, over 20 hours of recorded live trading sessions. There's actually over 200 hours of online video instruction. There's 38 comprehensive PowerPoints, etc. And also I've got a special going at the moment. I'm being quick because I want to get to the charts for you, that you can also attend 8 of my live coaching sessions in my private group coaching sessions that I run 2 evenings a week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This comprehensive handouts are included in those sessions. If you can't attend the live sessions, they are also recorded. That's where I'm teaching you step by step how to trade. We discuss everything from money management through to the setups, different markets. I could go on and on with what we cover in these sessions. Make no mistake, traders, this is a $10,000 plus program, all for $197. Now after the first month, if you wish to continue to attend, you can email me and I'll send you the link to sign up. It's only $97 a month to attend the coaching sessions. Otherwise, my program, you have lifetime access to that. And one thing I forgot to mention, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you'll be kept up to date with all of my latest videos. Now I know that many of you have already seen this, so I'll be very quick on this, but you'll see where I'm going, because today we're going to briefly discuss also trading on CL, the Texas tea, the black oil, I should say the black gold, CL. So I'm going to get to that in a moment. So this would be a game changer for 98% of the population, $1,000 a day. How do we achieve this? Well, trading 10 contracts by $100 a day would give you $1,000 a day. See, one of the greatest challenges facing traders today is developing the belief that they can actually do this. Now there's so much guff out there saying, look, you can earn $500, $1,000 a day per contract. Is that achievable? Yes, it is. Is it the reality for most traders? Absolutely not. So what you do, aim small, miss small. Of course, if you're here you go for 100 a day, you're developing a belief system, then we can step that up, and I'm going to show you the power of doing that. And most importantly, when we get to the charts, I'll walk you through step by step how to do it. Now first of all, how I got onto thinking about showing and really discussing how to trade oil today was this. So yesterday, just before the live trading room opened, I fired off 2 trades. It was about 15 minutes before we were due to open, and I trade just one lot, just one contract in the live room. Now you'll hear me talk about targeting $200 a day, and you'll see why in a moment. But I was thinking, well, nearly all of my videos are about trading the NQ. Now the NQ, I now call it the nifty NAS. I used to call it the nasty NAS, which it still can be, is a great market. However, it can be very fast, very whippy, etc. And so I was thinking, look, I'll just quickly show you these couple of trades and explain them, why I took them, but then we'll go over and we'll have a look at oil for Texas tea. Now when we go to this, just this quick chart here, just a little screenshot here, There are basically 5 things that we want to be analyzing each and every day to truly master the art of day trading. The great thing is there are indicators that will plot these on your screens basically automatically, or if you don't use an indicator, you can see them visually. So pivot levels are absolutely critical, as you'll see when I get to the charts. The prior day's open, high, low, close levels, the major EMAs, particularly the 89 and the 200 EMA, the intraday swing highs and lows. Why? They make great targets, as does the current day's high and low, as you will see on this chart here. Now we're going to go across to the chart itself in one moment. However, just to show you this here, we're bouncing off for 200 here. This is what we call a 200 overshoot, and up here I then took a trade off the high of day. Now it's best if I show you this. Now it was 210 but 201, so the room was opening, by the way, at 3 a.m. Central Standard Time on this particular day. So I just fired these couple of live trades off. Now $200 a day, you may be thinking that's not a lot of money, but let me show you what it really means to the average trader in a moment. Now what I show you on these next sheets you can apply to any market: CL, ES, YM, the Russell, gold, of course the Forex market. It doesn't really matter which market you apply it to. So the great thing with oil, as with most major markets now, you can trade not only the big contract, that is CL is $10 a tick or $10 a point, or you can trade the micro CL, which is $1 a tick. So that can be a great starting point, as I will show you in a moment in a little document I've got here. And you can actually drop me an email if you want to get a copy of that as well. I'm happy to send it to you. So we've got CL or the micro CL. Then we can go for the ES. If you like the ES, typically on a typical day the ES turns over 1.5 million contracts a day. Another great market, very liquid, and of course all professionals trade this. Well, when I say all professionals, your hedge funds, your money managers, etc. It's $12.50 a tick. That is it's $50 a point, by the way. There are 4 ticks to a point, and then we've got the micro, which is $5 a point or $1.25 a tick. There are 4 increments to a point. So basically if you looked at the micro chart or the big contract, basically the same. Then you get to the YM. Now the YM is a fantastic market as well. Now in some ways it's very closely related to the NQ, except you don't get anywhere near the intraday swings or the movement on the YM, which also means it's a lot tamer to trade. Now on the NQ, that's $5 a tick. So is the YM, it's $5 a tick. Okay, and you get some beautiful swings in that market as well, and you can trade the micro. So the micro is a great spot to start with. Now we can then go and trade actual tick charts. So I just wanted to bring this up, that a lot of traders ask me, look, you always show Renko charts, can we do it on tick? Well, you can trade time-based charts, tick charts, of course volume charts. There's a whole range of different types of charts you can actually apply, and different time frames. For an example, you will see that in this time of day, if I'm trading during the Globex session, which opens up at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so the market's basically trading 23 hours a day. Forex is 24 hours a day. You can trade a lower time frame during that time. So typically during the Globex session, say from 6 p.m. onwards, you can trade a 4-tick Renko on NQ. That would be near impossible during the New York hours. You'd be trading typically an 8 to a 12, maybe even a 16 tick. That is because you've got the volume, the market's moving a lot quicker. Okay, so it makes it a lot more challenging to trade at times. So the larger the volume, the faster the market is moving, we trade a higher time frame. Now if you compare what this looks like compared to this, so of course that was a quick flash then, your Renko charts are so much smoother. Okay, and the white paint bars there, you can see that's my super scalper indicator. And so as I say to all traders, particularly new traders or that have been struggling, you want to be following the color cloud. That is blue for longs, orange for shorts. Now I mentioned about targeting $100 a day, and so I've got thousands of members that have got my courses. Of course I run a live trading room as well as my coaching room. Now I recommend that all new traders target, and this is just out of a chat box, is that this particular client here, $100 a day for 16 days in a row. And what he's finding, he's loving, because it's building up his confidence. Because when you're hitting 100 a day consistently, you're building that confidence, because you want to build both confidence and competence. Now I'm recording this actually on Thursday the 14th of March, and here's from Jason. I made 4,200. Now Jason's actually trading with a prop firm, so you can apply what I teach. Also, I was surprised last night in the live trading room, we were talking about prop firms, because we've got a number of members that are looking at joining a few. How many of my members that are in the live trading room and the coaching room are now with, I had no idea, with prop firms? Excuse me. So I don't normally mention this in these sessions, but you can apply it if you're trading futures or Forex. Of course you can trade someone else's money using these setups. But before we get to the charts, I just want to do a quick reminder about why we need to have targets and goals, but they've also got to be realistic. And as the late Earl Nightingale says here, people with goals succeed because they know where they're going. Now we've also got to have realistic goals. Now, you know, you aim for the stars, you hit the moon, but also you don't have ridiculously lofty goals in your early career. Now this is what I recommend with all new traders. Even if you've got $4, $10, $20, $100,000, start off by trading a micro. Make all the mistakes you're going to make before you roll over to the big contract. But what if you don't have $4,000, which is what I recommend if you trade the NQ4 tick? You see, traders, I recommend you never ever, did I say ever, risk any more than 2% in a trade, because otherwise the trading gods are going to come and drain your trading accounts. Now here, if you started off with $400 trading the micro, NQ, or other markets, it could be oil, CL, going for $20 a day, potentially in for 12 weeks your account is now up to 4,600. Now you can roll over and start trading the big contract. Instead of going for $20 a day, you're now going for $200 a day, and look where you are potentially in 12 weeks, your 10,000 a week income. Now the total time taken for that, if we look at this now, time will pass anyway, so starting off with 400 based upon 20, in 12 weeks our account size is 46, so total time taken is 24 weeks to get there where you have a full time, and of course that is a life-changing income within 24 weeks. Name any other career or business where you can do that with a $400 outlay. That is the reality. Now the next question then we need to ask, how do we do that then? Okay, it all sounds great, you know, trade results and trades. How do I do that as a new trader, or perhaps a struggling trader? Well, we have a number of different setups that I teach the members, or teach traders I should say. I call them members. Great trading 2Bs, 34Bs, 5589s. I give them codes just because it'd be such long names with some of them, but all of these are mechanical rules-based patterns that we see appear in the market each and every day. So let's go to the charts, and let's examine the charts, and I'll show you step by step exactly what we're looking for. Now, as a quick reminder, when we go to the charts, pivot levels, open, high, low and close levels, major EMAs, intraday swings, current day's high and low, you'd have that printed out in front of you just as a quick reminder to be reviewing, looking for those on a regular basis. So let's start off with, before we get to the CL, just on the setups on the NQ. Now the NQ4 tick, as I mentioned, you can trade from 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time usually up to around 4 a.m. 5 a.m. Central Standard Time, so you can trade that through most of the session, but then it starts to get too fast. You need to increase the time frame. Okay, so what we're looking for here, and what I recommend for all new traders, you're looking for retracements and trading in the direction of the cloud. Okay, so we call that the cloud. If you've got a trading platform you can't get the cloud on, that's mighty fine. You can see the number of EMAs that we have. We're basically trading in the direction of the trend. Now I'll be fairly quick on this chart because I do want to get across to the CL for you. Now for members watching this, of course there's a lot of my members watch this. Over here, what have I got there? That's a T12 on your higher time frame. You have a trade entry, got a trade entry, you got a scalp there. Just remember, the further into a trend you are, the more likely you are to have a retracement. That is a plain vanilla trade. That's a plain bit vanilla. That one is. Now in a moment it does get, oh, that's a plain vanilla. So this is just on this day. Now this is where it can get tricky. Now see this lime colored line up here. Let me get my words out here. That's the current day's high. Now I should just point these out. This is our 89, this is a 200, and this is yesterday's high. So remember I said that these are the levels you need to watch because we bounce off those every day. Now if I just scroll my chart down, we've got yesterday's close and today's open there, yesterday's high, the current day's high, that blue line there, that's what we call a pivot. So all of those plot automatically. Well, I've got them for NinjaTrader. I've got some for basically you can get them for just about any platform, but I've got them for TradeStation, NinjaTrader, and even if you've got a platform I don't have the indicators for, I give you all of the settings, so you can basically model this anyway on any trading platform. But this is where we need to be careful. We've now made a new lower low. Note here our EMAs are starting to go sideways. Now in all hands on heart, if I had have taken this this trade, I would have just been stopped on this one. So for members watching, that is a 2BD, but here is a 2B. I just would have been stopped on that trade. Now the rules are, or my rules are, I'll take 2 trades in a zone, and if I get stopped on the second one, I've got to wait for a whole new trend to set up. Now 2BDs, I won't go into why that's a 2BD. They're a much lower probability trade, but there I would have been stopped on that one. But I've also had a whole pile of winners just before, if I had have taken those and if I was trading. If you watch my prior any of my prior videos, you see usually I kick butt most days, day in day out, within an hour. Now as we're coming back down here, my room I opened in 25 minutes. I opened in 25 minutes, but I pulled back right here and I had a 3B. Remember I mentioned you want to know where your current day's high is. Why? And note the 200 there. If that's a 200B, we want to target the current day's high. Why? Because after retracement we love to go back up there and kiss the high or kiss the low or kiss the pivot. Okay, it's just something we see day in, day out. Now I actually rallied up here and I front run. Now front running means that at the time, that was the high up there, that's right. So I got out perhaps a wee bit early. I got out there at that level. Now remember here I was only trading one contract. I only trade one contract in the room, where you'll see when I'm trading on my own, I always trade 5. Why? Talking and trading don't go hand in hand together, traders. When you trade, you need to be focused. Now, this isn't rocket science, but it does mean you've got to be focused. Now, on this 3B, by the way, I entered just here. I entered it on a pullback, that is, rallied up, pulled back, and then I jumped in and away we went. I then took this short here, and this is something that I recommend that all new traders do not do initially, is trade counter trend trades. Right now, this was actually, for members watching this was actually a 2D off the high of day. When you've got a bounce off a high, a low, a pivot where you've got divergence, that dramatically improves the probability of a trade working out, particularly if you've got great divergence. Okay, down we went, thank you very much, and it's 210 less commissions. So now we're getting very close to opening up the room, but I want to just give you a couple of lessons, and then I'll duck over to the CL. I want to show you something here. This can be a real danger area. Now, I won't go to the anchor chart because we just run out of time, but the anchor chart is the higher time frame that we're referring to, because we want to be trading in the direction of the higher time frame. The anchor chart 89 was dead flat. What do you do then, short or long? And in fact, I think if I remember correctly, it was about under here, a real danger zone. How do we know when we're breaking out of a consolidation zone? When do we know it's a great time to take a trade, or should I say a good time to take a trade? What I look for is a higher high and a higher low, or a lower low and a lower high. Basically confirmation that yes, I can take that trade. So I got a higher high, and just there I got a higher low. It also happened to be a 3B. Now, for members watching this, far from ideal, but it met the criteria: higher high, higher low. And if we were in this, thank you very much, we now made a new higher high that formed a double bottom, and we would have been away up to the high of day again. Now, why didn't we, or if you're trading here, why wouldn't you go for high of day there? Well, we actually could have. We had the higher high, but this is where what's really important, even if you're targeting a larger target, you still have your go to break even, which is your entry price rules. So I call these steps. So my break even is 5 steps. So on this particular chart, by the way, each step is worth $10 per contract. So you get to break even, but then it retraces, and this one takes you up, and away we go. And you can see then the trends, really beautiful trends, then kick in. And of course, you know, I could just sit back and show you, oh yes, look at all these, but that's, you know, yes, we get those, but it's not the reality. You've got to learn how to trade these zones. Now let's get to CL, because I want to spend 10-15 minutes talking to you about CL. Now, first of all, in learning to trade CL's a fantastic market, because there are thousands of traders around the globe that trade CL. So I've just taken a couple of things off this document, a couple of little secrets that we have just on the time frames that we're using here, but I'm also going to really give it to you what's really involved in this. Now here, if you trade the micro CL, let's start off with $600. Now you can trade with a lot less than that. Okay, so you can trade and start off with just 400 there. And if you're on a 80% win-loss ratio, and I'm going to show you much less than that in a moment, okay, effectively targeting just $20 a day, just 20 a day, okay, within 17 weeks, if we were going for $6,000 per contract, you can then roll over and start trading the big contract. But let me explain. Actually, I'll wait till we get down below, and I can show you how you can trade this market with 4,000. Now, I know there's a lot of traders. Hang on, the brokers offer day trading margins on oil only $1,000. I don't need $4,000. You do if you're going to follow the 2% rule. You break the rules, you're going to blow your account. Many of you watching this already know, and you know what, we're going to have traders to switch off now. They don't want to hear the truth because they can't handle it. The bottom line is, traders, this is all about money management. 90% of trading is psychology, 5% money management, 5% strategy. So here we've got 17 weeks later, we roll over, we're earning $200 a day per contract. Within basically 18 weeks after that, we're on our 10 grand a week trading 10 contracts. Now down here I've got a whole range of tools because I'm very big on you've got to have a trading plan. And so all of these spreadsheets, etc., and I show my members how to use these. And actually you can and I just remembered, you can click on a download link below if you want to get hold of these. And there's also a training video. I just remember this, I don't normally refer to these, but here you can click on the download below somewhere, and you can actually get hold of this. And I've recorded a little video on how you actually calculate this. Now what this means here is that the tick value on the micro CL is $1. The commission is around $1.52. If you had an 8 tick stop loss, an 8 tick target, if you're going for $20 a day, an 80% win rate, which is high, I'm going to show you less, you need to execute 6 trades a day to get to 20. Now remember, so many weeks later you're on the big contract. But once again, everyone wants to get impatient. They want to break the rules. That's why so many traders don't get there. I'm going to show you how to get there the right way. Now what if we only have a 75% win-loss ratio? 75% win, 25% loss. We need to execute 8 trades a day. What if it's only 70-30? 12 trades a day. Now I'll show you in a moment on CL how to get those 75-85% trades. Now that's on 12 trades. Now I'll show you what then happens when you roll over to the big contract. Life becomes a whole lot easier. Now when we compare trading the micro CL to CL with the same win-loss ratio, or that is the micro is 10% of the value. So going from 20 a day to 200 a day, okay, you only need to execute 7 trades a day on the big contract compared to 12 trades to hit $20 a day. Why is the difference? The commissions. Where when you trade a micro, it's $1.52, or if you were trading 10 lots, which is the 10 micro contracts, which is the same value of a big contract, effectively you're paying $15.20 in commission. Where if you're trading a big contract, it's only $4.52. And look at the difference. On only a 70-30 win-loss ratio, I'm only executing 7 trades a day to achieve that 200 a day. That is the difference. So some traders will say, well, that's terrible. Well, just look at it as part of your education initially, knowing that the big picture is you'll get across to the big contract within so many weeks. One more thing I want to show you before I get back to the charts is this. So let me just pull this up. So we talk about in that document there, the PDF there, of having $6,000 on the big contract. Realistically, if you're trading with the trend, you can get away with just $4,000. And what that means is, what's 2% of 4,000? It's $80. So what that means is I can have up to an 8 tick stop loss. It also means on a 4,000, let me put my teeth back in, $4,000, $200 a day. Look where we are potentially there in 12 weeks at 10 grand a week. That is the reality there on an 8-tick stop loss, 8-tick target. Well, actually, it doesn't matter what your target is, but you can have up to an 8-tick stop loss. For members watching this, that means we could be using our entries, the rule of 1 or the super scalper for our entries. Now, if you wanted to extend that to a 10-tick stop, if you wait for your anchor chart 1 candle to close, you'd need a $5,000 account. But you can get away if you're trading major EMA bounces with a $4,000 account. Now, let's go and have a look here for a moment at the 2-tick. Now, this is very tradable during the Globex session, that is the after hours market. So if you've got a job, go to work during the day, get home, have supper, then you can start trading. Now, early in the evening, the first couple of hours, CL can actually be quite choppy. And where is it? Actually, it doesn't open till here, and so that's basically there 4 hours of price action. So after midnight, it really starts to pick up. Now, this was an exceptionally quiet day, but you'll find after 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the volume really picks up, because that's the Singapore and the Shanghai Open. And of course, China, Shanghai Open, is the largest consumer of oil globally. So you'll find that volume generally really picks up. Now, what we can see here is we've got what we call T1 entries. There's a ton of them. Now, remember, we're after $200 a day minimum. Now, each one of those steps you can see there is worth $10. So what you're after, traders, is 20 steps a day. And I actually say to members, forget the dollars, focus on the ticks of the points. Okay, because when you're thinking I've got to get 200, I've got to get 400, and 400 is very realistic in this market, you know, dollars have a psychological effect, and that's where we think and we talk in terms of ticks. But what I want to show you here is just how effective, or how great oil can be with the waves. So what exactly are we looking at here? See the black dots? They're fractal points, by the way. So what you see, fractals, you can actually, Bill Williams, the late Bill Williams, is really the godfather when it comes to fractal trading. And with fractals, you can actually use a fractal for an entry. Now, if you hold your hand out in front of you, your middle finger is where the black dot is, and the black dots you can make larger, of course, and your two fingers, or one finger and a thumb on one side, and on the other, that's what forms a fractal. And so you can actually use fractals, see the black dots, you can actually use that for trend trading and reversals. But there, of course, we also will use what we call the super scalper, our white paint bars. So if you go and have 3 8-tick moves, and so each step is worth 8 ticks, that's $240 less your commission. Now the question is, then, how do we get the larger moves? The deeper the pullback, usually the larger the move. Now let's just talk about these levels I mentioned to you for support resistance. Here we have a pivot down below. That's the current day's open, yesterday's high. Here we bounce off a pivot again. We bounce off a pivot just there, and we'll see what happens here. But see that there and that there, we've got divergence with the trend. Now, are we going to get a bounce off a pivot? There it is there. We have a slight overshoot and we bounce. Oh, we bounce off it again. Now, there's certain things we do just to clarify and confirm the reversal. It's, as you can see, and we missed it by 1 tick. So these are all trading zones and very, very effective ways of trading. See this one here, we had a nice retracement. For members watching this, yes, it was our classic 2B, and oh, look at that there, we rallied up to yesterday's high just there. Now those sorts of moves, 1, 2, that's a $200 move there alone. Okay, so traders, you can see here, learning how to trade with the trend, But what is important also, then you go and apply it where you start learning how to trade with the trend, but also using an anchor chart that is a higher time frame. Now it's a lot more difficult to illustrate it here just on the one screen, and this is where really, if you're really serious about a day trading career, at least two screens is really important. So what we do is we trade with an entry chart and an anchor chart one, and I use an anchor chart two for an even higher time frame. But the bottom line is this, traders, that start small, aim small, miss small. You start on the micros, whether you're going to trade oil, whether you're going to trade the YM, which is the Dow, the Russell, etc. It doesn't really matter. Now just before we got underway before, is I fired off a trade, and I've turned the charts off here, and I fired off just a trade here, and this is just a classic, and this was on 5 lots just as we got underway earlier. This is just a classic, what we call 3B. Traders, we get these every day, but it's a matter of how to recognize these. And all of these, do you know what they are? They're patterns. All of these are patterns. So what I will teach you is how to trade these patterns, which are rules based. They're a good 95% mechanical, but why not 100%? Because what you still have to be able to identify is to learn how to identify a trend. Okay, because we've got to avoid chop. I want you to remember that when we're flat, or we don't have that here, and here's this classic entries here on oil. I just showed you the NQ, that trade I fired off. So on what was I going to say then? You've got to learn what we call it, the ice cream sandwich. One of my traders, her 15-year-old 16-year-old son trades with her, and he came up with the name the ice cream sandwich when you got a flat 89 and a flat 200. It's evil. Okay, you've just got to be so careful when you have that. So traders, in closing, there are so many fantastic markets out there. Start small, miss small, meaning if you've got 5, 10, 20, 50,000, or if you've been sold the garbage, you can start trading big contracts and risking 5%. Traders, it's just not true. Now, you know what? I lose a lot of people from buying or investing in my program, and it's not even buying, it's really investing. You know, and people will rubbish and say, oh, it doesn't work, the setups don't work. Traders, consider the logic. You're trading in the direction of an overall trend of trending EMAs with a whole range of other little things that we do. The logic is there. It's whether or not you're going to follow the rules. This is not rocket science. If you're serious about a day trading career, and as I showed you what now, I was just so surprised. And look, let me just quickly show you. Did I put it up there? Let me just quickly see. Where did I put that? I was going to show you just the chat, because one of the members was asking about the trading. Actually, let me just pause the video. I want to show you something. I think you'll be interested. So traders, this is from last night in the live trading room, where one of our members I was talking about, and I just think you'll be interested in this, was asking about prop firms, because effectively you're trading someone else's money. And here's just the chat, and I've sent this to, where is it, down here, Kevin, he wanted. Here I'm with a prop firm as well, Jeffrey. Yeah, me too. Shalomi, I've already passed the evaluation. And I was talking now in the live trading room. You can type in, ask questions. I've passed several. Best bang for the buck is the 25 accounts. You have a drawdown if you want to pass a tradable on contract. I've been with prop firm. I've now here blown heaps. I've practiced 6 months now. Dan's a new member, and that's why you start on the simulator. And once Dan learns our setup, he's going to be laughing. Let's see, here 1500 is the best. Start with 150 a day. I agree and hope with your method. So as I mentioned, Dan's joined to learn my strategies. Still importance, here we go. Raised methods will work for 15k, no problem. okay, you can trade up to and so as you saw, that other member just today, after discussing his sent through, he was up $4,500. So I just wanted to mention that to you, because this is the true potential if you learn how to trade correctly. Okay, so what does it take? Well, it takes somebody that's, just not merely interested in day trading, but says, hey, I'm committed to this. You've got to be willing to put the work in. As my members hear me say all the time, the only place in the world where I know success comes before work is in the dictionary. There's nothing rocket science you've got to do, but you do have to get screen time. You've got to be willing to put in, really, if you're really serious about day trading for a decent part-time or full-time career, at least 2 hours a day. That is the reality. And as I say to someone, I don't know about 2 hours a day as I get going, what's your television costing you? Would $1,000 a day change your life? Yeah, of course. Well, that's what 2 hours will get you. So if you're committed, you can do this. So traders, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Better still, click on the link below. Come and join me in my live coaching room, where I'll teach you step by step how to day trade for a living. Thank you, traders. Session 88. See you in the next video.